Due to the graphic nature of its content, listener discretion is advised.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for.
On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories,
Tanya, whoever you are, we're sorry if you're damaged goods at this point.
All right, America needs to know. This needs to be documented. Hold on, time out. Two things. I am not a diddler. There's no way I'm letting you pee in my mouth.
Tell you what, Cigars and Sea Stories.
Sun never sets on a badass America.
You're like, am I losing my mind right now?
Checkmate, king.
I can dig it, man.
All right, well, our opinions differ significantly, and I'll respect your opinion, but you're all fucked up. So...
yeah, we got to get rid of the beaver.
I don't know. I'm not allowed to talk about what you might or might not be talking about.
An Oberdorfer?
Wife beater, tidy whities, and a pair of cowboy boots.
I thought I was going to be castrated.
That pony inspires me.
Shoot for height on the shitter door.
Loved me the most in the barracks.
Not that kind of beaver, but like...
that was the same tour I saw Sergeant Major toss a Army PFC out of an up-armored Army Humvee.
Are just covered in shit and third-degree burns on their hands and stuff.
And I went out from underneath of this street lamp, and bam, I was face to face with an M1 Abrams tank. Like, wow! Like, oh fuck! Like,
You know what didn't buff out was when Giblin's truck hit the IED, pulls out his M9 and puts 3 rounds into the freaking gate lock and kicks it open like he's in a movie or some shit. Honestly, sir, I have no idea. Just seemed like a good idea at the time, so I did it.
Not necessarily about the fighting or the killing or, all that shit. But what's it like to actually live, like, day to day and, like...
The idea is that, somebody tries to sneak into my house or breaks into my house, if the kids are still asleep, I don't ever have to wake them up with the boomstick. There you go. I just, bad guys down, kids are still sleeping, go back to bed.
Operation Keep Your Spanky. What's this all about, gents?
I realize now, 11 years later, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here speaking with you today. And so, paying tribute back to Spanky and all the other dogs that have saved people's lives, we're starting this program to help veterans and military families.
The American public has really stepped up, from the veteran community to just everybody we've come across, from opening the doors of their homes to running us vehicles to be able to get to as many cities as fast as possible to simply raise as much awareness as possible for our dogs and for our veterans.
Politics. Are we gonna go political on this website?
Nope, never high-five the Pope. That's definitely on my bucket list.
So I want to talk politics. Because now you've got this whole extra additional part of the population that is just wandering the streets. Because mom and dad are at work. You want us to go to Iraq or to Afghanistan or to Libya or to Bosnia or to any of these places that we go to. Some general didn't just up and say, "Oh, we should go there." No, that didn't happen. It never happens. It's always by some directive of our civilian National Command Authority. So if you don't like the wars that we're fighting, if you don't like the way those wars are being fought, then fucking stand up and elect somebody else that'll make better goddamn decisions on where the fuck to send us and what to do when we get there.
So I was working on the book Violence of Action, and I needed some help with the section on the siege of Haditha Dam in Iraq, and that onus on the people involved in the book to be as accurate as they possibly could. And we all know, you can take 5 different guys that were all in the same firefight, and they're going to have 5 different stories. Having that, immense responsibility of, we're literally writing history right here.
Can we cuss on this?
Fuck yeah, you can.
Okay.
Put up a male for male ad.
But they had like a running bet on who was getting their first knife kill. I think everybody had this feeling like something was about to it was just very eerie, and everything happened at once. It wasn't like these things happened separately to where you could identify really what was going on. It's just that is a real knife hand.
We Skyped in, and needless to say, here we are today. So believe it or not, that was only a week ago? I was saying, hey, we're going to start out with $50 in our pocket, pack on our back and our dogs, and walk 6,000 miles in 30 days. Secondly, we knew we weren't going to walk one bit of it. And if so, then there was something definitely wrong with the system as far as veterans being there for veterans and the American public being there for us.
Is it big enough? No. I don't think so. We'll figure out something bigger and better next time. But now it's time to kick off the real program and put it all together and put the work in and actually start helping the veterans and military families.
I say it all the time. You got gigantic nuts. You know what I'm saying? You guys are saving lives by doing this stuff. I mean, there's no stretch of the imagination as far as that's concerned.
Literally, the EBV network was what stepped up to the plate 75% of the time.
A lot of people are sitting there looking for a mission themselves and something to help somebody else along with in whatever support aspect.
So do you have like that sense of accomplishment yet, or is it still kind of a shock coming back?
I'm at fucking work right now, smoking a cigar on your back porch, spitting into a fucking microphone. You know, so I'm loving life now.
And it was like, hey, I guess it's time to go. We scared the fuck out of everybody. You know?
You could have hopped in that train line with me, Dan. I mean, come on, dude. We're all hitting it.
I love just being able to swear. I know, right? I know. It feels so fucking good. I mean, I'm straight snapping it off like it's no tomorrow.
I happened to notice under Spanky's tail, like right at the top of his asshole, he had an abscess. We sort of lands it and it pops.
It was a fucking super glue escapade. I mean,
you guys want real and raw? You got it. Because I don't give a fuck.
The actual training program is about a 6-week program to get you ready to where you're actually can take this dog out and have public access, which means it knows all its basic to intermediate obedience.
So once again, leading the way in an industry of all the unknown.
They're just starting to realize now that these other dogs do help people with these issues and should be treated the same way.
Yeah, that's why here at One Pet, One Vet, we wear those headbands and armbands that say One Pet, One Vet. That's our identifier, if you will. Hell yes. We'll fuck you up in a good way. In a good way.
The beach parties came ashore and they'd have the yellow bands tied to identify them. What you had was basically like 6'2", 6'3" street fighters, you know, from the urban areas here who went over there and just, you know, these little North Koreans or Chinese that come over at 5'6" and they just give them the heart punch. Bam.
Thank you for listening to Cigars and Sea Stories. Subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Your comments make the show. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Wait a minute, we're not on LinkedIn. See, that's why people subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. So that they can have glorious material like that.
I was going to say, I highly doubt you're going to find anybody else that's got an abscess on a dog's tail, you know, that talks about super gluing his asshole shut.